Hi, my name is Jim Fry. I'm Vice President of Research at Enterprise Management Associates. Welcome back to this series on application-driven network performance management. We've talked in the last few sessions about what ANPM is and the basics and structure of CA's portfolio and tools and technologies they bring to bear here. And in this session, we're going to look at a special case that I mentioned earlier around unified communications monitoring and management. So UC, or unified communications, is really important to understand because it's very sensitive to network performance. Now, when we talk about unified communications, that can mean a lot of things to different people. It usually includes things like voice over IP, interactive video conferencing. It can include messaging like IM. It could even include email, as well as other tools. The ones that are most interesting for today's conversation are voice over IP and video conferencing, IP-based video conferencing. And the reason is they are very, very sensitive to network performance and to the cleanliness and health of the network. This is because these technologies are very sensitive to packet loss or latency or jitter, which are essentially challenges with delivering them across the network. When these metrics rise above certain levels, you'll see very specific degradation in end user experience, general unhappiness. Lots of calls to the help desk. So you need to keep a really close eye on these types of traffic and activity loads, even more so than you do the other average applications and services. What makes UC challenging to manage in particular is a couple of things. First of all, there's a bunch of dedicated systems and equipment that have to be in place for voice and video to work properly. There are call servers, there are gateways, there are endpoints that are voice over IP endpoints. Sometimes it's agents that run right on the desktop as well. And then, of course, there's the network. And it's this last piece that makes it quite interesting and challenging, and also opens an opportunity. The network is shared in this scenario. All those other pieces tend to be dedicated, but the network is shared. And this is where the challenge often comes up, because UC traffic must share those network links with all the other application traffic that's going on. And if you don't have policies set up to use the right QoS settings, or you have any kind of congestion issues, UC quality will likely suffer. So as you embark on an ANPM strategy, you can build UC monitoring directly into that strategy in a couple of ways. First of all, the ANPM tools that we talked about earlier, those that watch flow records like NetFlow, those that watch packet streams, will see this activity alongside everything else that you're monitoring. But you need to also complement that with some specific UC monitoring functionality. In particular, tools that will bring together a view of all of the activity, translate that into calls, and also watch the specific metrics associated with call quality. Metrics such as, and measurements such as mean opinion score, or MOS, is a very important and well understood and well used metric for assessing the quality of voice communications. You need to monitor MOS on a regular basis if you're going to understand or hope to understand how users are experiencing their UC service. And that's very specialized. Not all UC and not all ANPM products will offer that directly. In addition, part of the ANPM strategy should be to include specific technologies that shed light on UC-oriented objectives. For example, Cisco offers MediaNet functionality within their products. And MediaNet gives you direct measurements of things such as voice and video from the network perspective in metrics that are specific to that voice and video traffic. They also offer a technology called IPSLA, and there are equivalents in other infrastructure vendors as well. But IPSLA is one of those synthetic test tools that we talked about earlier that can be set up specifically to test and gauge the network's ability to deliver voice over IP or video type connections in an efficient and effective manner. Now, CA Technologies has a specific solution for monitoring UC, and they call it Unified Communications Monitor. UC Monitor provides direct and specific measurement of the quality of calls as they're occurring, together with monitoring of the health of the call infrastructure, recognizing the call setups, which is an important part of the story versus where we know the calls actually get delivered. That may or may that uses different protocols and may or may not actually follow the same path on the network, which makes it quite interesting to troubleshoot. But it also does trending, reporting to see how things are changing over time. It can be used to monitor and keep tabs directly on a sustained basis on MOS scores. It can reveal and be used to troubleshoot and look specifically at call quality of an individual session. So this set of capabilities gives you that extra set of detailed UC-oriented monitoring and troubleshooting capabilities that you need that go beyond a typical AM/PM solution. To make matters even more interesting and more valuable, the CA solution then takes the UC monitor details and can add them to CA Performance Center, which we talked about in the last session. So you can put the UC metrics and the UC measurements right next to the aggregate AM/PM data that you're gathering, as well as the data that you're gathering from other infrastructure viewpoints. And this really helps for a couple of specific reasons. And the big one is, as I mentioned earlier, other things on the shared media, like the network, can be the source of problems with UC quality. If that's the case, you're going to see them when you put the UC metrics together with those broader measurements of application activity and health. One last interesting thing about the CA solution, and something that's somewhat unique, is its support for multiple voice over IP solutions. So the solution can be used and applied to Cisco voice over IP, or Avaya voice over IP, or Microsoft voice over IP, all of which are very popular and all have their own certain specific needs around how you monitor them. Being able to do that within a single system is really important, because in a lot of shops you'll find mix of these tools, more than one of them in place. That's very common. So having one set of tools like CA UC Monitor that can give you monitoring across all those technologies is very, very helpful when it comes to monitoring and supporting and troubleshooting problems. Lastly, one of the attributes of the CA solution here is support of Cisco MediaNet features. The reason why MediaNet is really interesting and important is that some voice over IP systems, in particular Microsoft Lync, offers no direct ability to measure call quality in transit. If you have MediaNet running on your Cisco infrastructure, you can get hop-by-hop measurements that gives you the visibility you need to understand call quality as it breaks down across the delivery path. So that's a very, very helpful and additional valuable feature that CA offers.